Moin.
Oops, sorry, we're live and I was muted. My apologies. Good morning, everybody. YFU family, welcome. We are so happy to have you here today and joining us for this milestone event in our organization's history. We're here to celebrate the 70th anniversary of YFU, which was established in 1951 by our founder, Rachel Anderson. She created YFU to begin to repair relationships damaged by World War II. And here we are 70 years later going strong. So what started with 2 countries has now expanded to all around the world. And this is an exciting time for all of us. So welcome. Today, I just want to tell you a little bit about us. This event has been organized by our anniversary celebration team. And we are a team comprised of 20 members spanning over 12 different countries. So you can imagine what our meeting times are like. If you've ever done international stuff, you know what that's like. So it's an amazing team, and I am really proud to be a part of it. So before we get started, my name is Vanessa. I will be your host today and your MC for the whole event. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself before we get started. I have been fortunate enough to be a part of YFU since I was 15 years old. I was an exchange student my junior year of high school. I spent 1 year abroad in Germany. I went on the CBX scholarship, so that was exciting. I loved being an exchange student so much that I decided to do it again in college, and I spent 1 semester in Guadalajara, Mexico, which was another amazing experience. When I finished there, I didn't speak any German or any Spanish when I arrived in the countries. And when I left, I was fluent in both languages. And that led me to my first job, which was as a foreign language tour guide and VIP hostess at Disneyland in California. So I did that for 12 years. I majored in foreign languages and linguistics, and now I tutor high school foreign language. So as you can see, YFU has been a huge part of my life and led to kind of shape my entire career path. So I am forever grateful to YFU. I now volunteer. I've been an area rep. I teach a lot of the Southern California orientations for incoming and outbound exchange students. I've been an emergency host mom. I was a host sister. So YFU is a huge part of my life, and I am so very honored to be here today and to be your master of ceremonies. So enough about me, but I hope everybody has their purple party gear on today. We're ready to get this party started. We've got our toasting beverages for later. We've got desserts that will come out of my refrigerator in a bit. I don't want it to melt. So I hope you all have that and you guys are ready to get started. So before we get started, just to take care of a little bit of the housekeeping and kind of rules for engagement today, we are all participating virtually. So I do want to remind everyone who's joining us on Zoom, please do not unmute yourself. I know we'd all love to talk, but unfortunately, we can't all talk at the same time or nobody will hear anybody. And we want to make this event extra special and that everyone can hear. So please feel free to use your reactions. Please write any questions or comments you have in our chat box. We will do our best to get back to you and answer your questions if we can. If we miss anything, we do have a website available. You can check for answers there, or you can email us and we will be posting the information for that in the chat box shortly. Also, for those of you joining us on Facebook Live and YouTube, first of all, hello. I hope you guys are doing great this morning. For you guys, I know you don't have the same features that Zoom does, but please go ahead and use your reactions and feel free, like I said, to email us if we don't get to anything today. If we don't answer your questions in the chat box, it's not personal. We will have some Q&A time after some of our speakers, so we can address some of your questions then. But again, if we don't, feel free to reach out anytime. Okay, so enough about that. Shortly, to review our agenda, just so everybody knows, our loose outline for today is we have about 4 speakers coming to us. They're going to be wonderful speakers, a great keynote speaker, and we're also having some games because it wouldn't be a party without some games. And then we're going to also have some announcements for our upcoming events and activities for the rest of the year celebrating the 70th anniversary. Immediately following today's event, we will have a virtual get-together on wonder.me. We will go into more of that later, but just know that when we say our final goodbyes and do our toast, it's not the end of the party, okay? So please stick around and we will have some more fun at that point. Okay, so now I talked a lot and I apologize. I know that was a lot of information fast. So I would like to try out our participation system today. This is how we will ask questions. This is how we will react. This is how we will play trivia. And we will go ahead and do a test so we can find out some information that I would really like to know, which our first question is, where is everybody joining us from today? Please write it in the chat box where you're joining us from. Oh, Dusseldorf, Germany, willkommen, Thailand, Sweden, Lithuania, Argentina, bienvenidos, Rome, wow, Lithuania, Los Angeles, Germany, Bulgaria, Switzerland, Buenos Aires, South Switzerland. Oh no, Switzerland? Hungary? Wow, France, USA, Switzerland, Uruguay. Wow, we are covering a lot of ground today. I myself am in San Diego, California, and we normally have sunny weather, but unfortunately today it's a little bit gloomy, but that's okay because we're bringing the sunshine here. So thank you all. Oh, Paraguay and Poland too. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, for my second question, now we're going to test our reactions. I would really like to know how everybody here is associated with YFU. So first of all, if you've been on an exchange, if you've been an exchange student, current or past, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a reaction of a thumbs up. Oh, wow, we've got lots. We've got Bill and Lenka. Wow, Dennis, Kiersey, Olaf. Wow, we've got lots of people. Oh, Thomas, Kia, wow. So I see a lot of us all share that bond. Agnes, Monica. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, if you have been a volunteer, please give me a heart emoticon or an emoji reaction. Here we go. Okay, Yeva, Marie, Stephanie, Celine, Miranda. Wow, thank you all. Let's see, who else do we have? Hearts all over the place. And it does take a big heart to do that, doesn't it? To donate your time to something that's such a special cause. And trust me, we could not do this without you. So thank you all to our volunteers. And last but not least, if you have been a host family, so meaning if you've been a host sibling, if you've been a host parent, if you've been a host neighbor to somebody who maybe interacted a lot, please give me another thumbs up. Let me see. Oh, wow. Here we go again. Christian, Rika, Angelica, Celine, Elise. Wow. We have got a lot coming here. Wow. Look at that. Well, thank you, Anita. That's amazing. Well, okay. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate all of you joining us from all around the world today. And for all the capacities in which you've participated in YFU, we thank you. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our first speaker joining us today. His name is Hans Stratum. He's the chairman of the YFU International Board and senior advisor to YFU South Africa. Hans has been active in YFU since his own exchange in the mid-'80s and has, among other things, hosted several exchange students as well. Welcome, Hans.
Thank you very much, Vanessa, for that very energetic welcome. And dear YFU friends, colleagues, volunteers, staff, students, former students, host families, and anybody that regards themselves as being associated with YFU. In short, dear YFU family, warm greetings from Cape Town, South Africa. It is indeed my great honor and privilege to welcome you all on behalf of the International Board to this, the official kickoff and first of many global and local activities planned for 2021 in celebration of our beautiful organization's 70th anniversary. What a milestone. And how fitting and symbolic that we gather for this kickoff event in April, the birth month of YFU's founder, Rachel Anderson. Friends, let's be brutally honest. The mere fact that we are able to celebrate another year of existence more than 1 year into the global pandemic is not necessarily a given. Rather, it is testament to our collective fighting spirit and raison d'être, our reason for being, and our passion to continue living our purpose. They say that in the midst of every crisis lies great opportunity. And this is exactly the project that we, the International Board, the Global Office, our member organizations, staff, volunteers, students, and various stakeholders are currently undertaking, creating opportunities from a crisis. And yes, dear friends, YFU will survive and become an even better vehicle for global understanding and change than ever before. YFU has seen its fair share of crises in its lifetime. In fact, YFU owes its very existence to a global crisis, the Second World War. The vision of Rachel Anderson to create a better world and more understanding between the people of the world in the aftermath of the war has seldom been more relevant than now. In many ways, the global COVID-19 pandemic was creating a perfect storm, churning in our direction and ready to batter us. One could even argue that our organization was in many respects a sitting duck, given the very nature of our business that relies so heavily on moving people across borders. Yet, here we are, 1 year into COVID-19, celebrating our 7th decade of being. Yes, we are bruised and we've taken a few knocks, but the lights have not gone out, to paraphrase our founder's most famous words. Friends, now is the time to rekindle Rachel Anderson's vision. Indeed, let us create an opportunity from a crisis. The International Board and Global Office have seldom before been so closely aligned and resolute in working towards a better YFU, a stronger YFU, and a YFU that is ready to continue doing what comes natural to us, advancing intercultural understanding, lifelong learning, global competencies, mutual respect, and social responsibility. I invite and implore all of you to join hands with the International Board and Global Office in making this rebuilding project a success. We cannot do it without you. The International Board, and indeed the whole YFU network, is extremely lucky to have Team Global Office under Gregory Matheson's leadership, steering our ship out of troubled waters. Gregory, our heartfelt gratitude to you and your team. So friends, I think it is quite all right to allow ourselves some self-indulgence. Let us pat ourselves on the back and wish ourselves a happy birthday. And let us not forget that there are some very special people who have been working hard behind the scenes to make this event possible, and who will continue working throughout the year to make this a very special 70th anniversary year. To Ines, our Global Office intern coordinating the anniversary celebration team, thank you. to Bill, Vanessa, Jim, Stephanie, Pamela from YFU USA, Yeva from YFU Lithuania, Melissa from YFU Turkey, Marika from YFU France, the two Carolinas and Luciano from YFU Argentina, Lena from YFU South Africa, Adele, Peng, and Alex from YFU China, Alexandra from YFU Australia, Florian from YFU Germany, Agnes and Fanny from YFU Hungary, Eric from YFU Sweden, and last but not least, Annie from YFU Finland. Thank you. Friends, in conclusion, thank you very much for attending this event. I hope you will all enjoy yourselves, and here's to another 70 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hans. That was a very warm welcome. And yes, thank you to everyone who's participating in this event as well to make it possible. So next up, we will have Gregory Matheson. He's the Secretary General of YFU's Global Office. Gregory will be talking more about the YFU global situation and addressing some of the burning questions I'm sure that we all have. If there's anything you would still like to know, please type it in the chat box and we will take a few questions when he is finished. So anything you think of along the way, please throw it in that chat box. Okay, thank you so much. Welcome, Gregory.
Well, yes, thank you very much, Vanessa, and thank you, Hans, for those words of introduction as well as those thanks. It's very touching. More generally for myself and for the members of the Global Office who are here today, it really is both a privilege and a pleasure to be able to address you during this meeting. My congratulations and thanks, of course, to the organizing team and for all the people who are participating today. It's quite humbling to see this outpouring of love for this great organization. We really appreciate it. So indeed, I'm going to be talking about the times in which we're living, which are quite unlike anything in recent history, both for the world and of course for YFU. As Hans said, we have been bruised, battered, but we are still standing. Our chemin de croix, as we say in France, began in March 2020 with the decision by the International Board and the Global Office to suspend and terminate programs, the ongoing programs around the world. This was, of course, an unprecedented effort for our organization, as nearly 3,000 students at that point in time were on program and needed to be brought home in the most difficult circumstances imaginable, frankly, for an organization like YFU. As borders closed, flights were canceled, families got sick, communities started to buckle under the strain of dealing with the pandemic. And for YFU, we say that a crisis, whilst presenting opportunities, also brings out the essential character of an organization. I think we managed as an organization to demonstrate the values which make this organization so great. A veritable outpouring of love for our students, for our communities, for our organizations, as volunteers around the world stepped up to keep us alive, to support students. And of course, there was a lot of disappointment as well on the part of the students and the host families as the program years were interrupted quite brutally. But we worked together across 55 different countries and we got it done. Not without any difficulties, not without tears and wailing and gnashing of the teeth, but we got it done as an organization. Now, we know this virus better after 18 months, 24 months of living with it. We know what it does. We know the risks for our students and for our volunteer communities. And we know, more importantly, how governments and communities react in the face of the pandemic. As a result of this, in both 2020 and 2021, in Q3 and Q1, we were able to, through a process of careful monitoring, weighing up the feasibility of having programs, to offer programs to students, of course, a much smaller amount. In 2020, we only had around 30% of our regular student numbers, and these students were primarily living their year in Europe and in North America. And whilst the situation is slowly getting better in a lot of the world, we don't anticipate in 2021 to get anywhere up to 100% of what we would typically send abroad in a year. We will probably have around 60 and 65%, between 60 and 65% of our typical student numbers, or somewhere around 1,500 students traveling abroad with us. And the Global Office and all our member organizations around the world will continue to monitor the situation. And in some countries, indeed, and very regrettably, programs will not be possible, or where they are, they may be much smaller than normal. I think putting students on program in the current conditions is not something that we do lightly. We do it above all because we believe in the value of these programs and their capacity to shape lives, to change communities. And this capacity exists even in the middle of a pandemic, even though daily life is somehow truncated and certainly very different. It hasn't been easy. It won't be easy for those students, those host families, and those volunteers who are on program in 2021 or who were on program in 2022. However, all of us, if you've been on program, have lived through a year of incredible upheaval and in a lot of cases, events of truly historical significance that changes the character and the nature of the programs which were put into place. And now organizations have adapted, innovated, changed to be able to face the programmatic difficulties. I'm incredibly proud of what our member organizations have been able to accomplish. The way in which the volunteers, the staff around the world have been able to step up and still offer these quality programs has been quite humbling and really is a testament to the character of our organization. So my heartfelt congratulations to you all. You know, I think it was Albert Einstein said, true education is what remains when you have forgotten everything else that you have learned. And this essentially is what Yfu programs are about. It's not simply about moving people from A to B, from one place to another. In today's world of hypermobility and connectedness, the idea of youth exchange, as we understand it, actually can appear even a little bit old-fashioned. However, the act of being far away from your family, from your language, from everything you know, is an incredibly powerful experience for a young person. And it changes people in a fundamental way. It hardwires them to be able to perceive the world communities, the cultural forces which shape our everyday lives in a very different way than they would otherwise have been able to. And this is how we change the world, Yfu. We change it one memory, one person, one community at a time. And at the heart of it all, the curiosity and the courage of our students, the passion and the wisdom of our volunteers, the dedication and the professionalism of our staff all around the world in our 50 different organizations. But above all, and this is a message I really want to pass to all of you today, Yfu is only possible because at its heart, there is this act of improbable generosity. Our host families around the world are the beating heart of our organization. And without them, without the love and the patience which they display every day in guiding and nurturing our students, Yfu would be nothing at all. Now, this is true even in a normal year, but in COVID times, what they have done is just extraordinary, really. So to all of you on this call who are listening, who are host families with Yfu, I say this: thank you, merci, dankeschön, arigato, tak, and all the other languages you want it in. Without you, we would not be here. You are so, so loved, really. So, looking forward. Well, borders will open up. People will be able to travel again. But the industry of mobility, in which Yfu works, will have been profoundly changed by these 24 months. There's no doubt about it. And Yfu will need to take its place in whatever world comes afterwards. Because right now we live in a world which is pulsating with change, where walls are once again springing up all around the world to keep people apart, and where increasingly people believe that division and nationalism is the natural order. That's not what people are about. And our programs prove that. We need a world where the type of understanding and of otherness gained through our programs is commonplace in order to be able to face the problems which we have. And we've got a lot of problems. We need to be able to face them as one world, as one species. And Yfu can and must contribute to making our world and our communities a better, more open place, to make it easier for countries to work together. I can imagine in the future a world where youth exchange is not exceptional, but rather it's a standard element of the education of our youths and something valuable for our families, for our schools, and for our communities, something to be desired and to be promoted together. Because this is how Yfu changes the world. The curiosity and the courage of our students, the passion and the wisdom of our volunteers, and the love and the generosity of our families. And in today's world, the greatest danger we face as a species is not global warming or war or racism or lack of education. The greatest danger we face is apathy and inaction in the face of these challenges. We need optimistic, committed, engaged people working over walls and across borders to enact the type of change that the world needs to see. And we, Yfu and others, need to inspire and to lead people. We need to teach people that change is possible, and we need to make them believe it at their very core. Because as the great anthropologist Margaret Mead said, you must never think that a small, devoted group of people cannot change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you all for your attention. I hope you have a great day today. Thank you so much for everything you do for YFU. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for all of that information. I see that we do have some questions in the chat box. Adele, I'm going to reach out to you in a minute if I miss anything, but our first question that I see is, how can we as volunteers support the organization even more for the next coming years? Shall we do something differently versus last year to increase the number of students?
Well, I think the role of volunteers in any organization, YFU organizations, is utterly crucial. The main thing, because a lot of the problems we face in our national organizations at the moment are financial and programmatic. It comes a lot back on the staff to trying to organize and orchestrate our programs. And I think the main thing we need to strive to do is to find that harmony between the volunteer staff and the paid staff who share that mission. We need to have that discussion within our organizations. You know, how are we going to plot that path forward together? How can we move forward the idea of hosting a student or sending a student abroad? Having those discussions within your organizations, stepping up, lending a hand for overworked staff. You know, there's a million different ways that volunteers can and should help, but it all comes down to having a common understanding within an organization of what needs to be done and then working together to get it done.
Okay, thank you. Adele, are there any other questions or comments in the chat box for Gregory at this time?
I think right now we're good, but I would encourage everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Gregory. I'm sure there will be more questions either later today or via email. So thank you so much for all of that information and for addressing things that I know have been on all of our minds as individual, volunteers. We get a lot of the questions you answered. So thank you so very much. And it was a pleasure to have you here with us today. Okay, so guys, now it would not be a birthday celebration without some games. So what we're going to do next is we're going to play a little bit of YFU Trivia. So my companion Adele is going to help me out here. Adele, would you please pull up our trivia game?
Yes.
While she's doing that, I just want to explain kind of how this is going to work. So we are going to have a multiple choice format. So you're going to get four answers with a letter A, B, C, and D. And all you need to do is, as soon as I read it, just type whatever letter of the answer. Don't have to type the answer, just the letter of the answer into the chat box. And we will see what kinds of things people know about YFU. So, okay, let's get it started. If I could please have question number 1. You will have about 10 to 15 seconds to answer. So here we go. Question number 1, what is the oldest YFU organization in Asia? YFU China, YFU Japan, YFU Philippines, or YFU Thailand? Okay, we're getting a lot of B's. Oh, I see a D in there. Okay, a couple D's, more B's, a C. Okay, somebody thinks the Philippines, Thailand. Okay, some more B's. Okay, oh, all right. We got seems like B is the most common letter I'm seeing. Okay, Adele, could you please go ahead and show us the answer, please?
Yes.
All right, for all my B answers, it is YFU Japan. Just so you all know, YFU Japan was established in 1958. So it has been around a long time. Okay, thank you. Can we get question number 2, please? Okay, approximately how many students have been on exchange with YFU since 1951? These are some big numbers here, guys, so let's see. What do people think? Okay, D, 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 A, C, D. Ooh, A, a couple people think we've had over 2 million. I like that. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Okay, oh, some more C's, D, A, C. Okay, we've got a lot of different answers coming in, so I will be very curious to see what that answer is. Adele, would you please show us the answer?
Of course.
Thank you. It's letter D. Over 270,000 students have been on exchange. And I know a lot of us are here today, so that's exciting. Okay. All right. Can we get question number 3, please?
Yep.
Thank you. What is the name of the umbrella organization of YFU in Europe? Is it Yes YFU, EEE YFU, EF YFU, or YFU IES? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of B's, B, 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 B. Oh, we must have a lot of Europeans here with us today.
Yeah.
That's exciting. B, I don't see any other answers. All right, well, I think, oh, there's an A. Okay, let's see what it is. It is, in fact, EEE YFU, European Educational Exchange Youth for Understanding. And that is a mouthful. So let's just use that EEE YFU. Thank you, Adele. Could we get question number 4, please?
Yes.
Who was the founder of YFU Uruguay, who helped to build many other YFU organizations in Latin and South America?
Simone.
Oh, somebody wants to tell me the answer out loud. Okay, guys, let's remember to please use our chat features. I'm seeing a lot of A's. A lot of A's. We did have some verbal help there. So, okay. So, Adele, is it the question we've all been waiting for? Is it A? Yes, it's Dr. Eric Simon. And Dr. Eric Simon was the founder and national director of YFU Uruguay for many years. And he worked closely with our founder, Rachel Andresen, in order to start other YFU national organizations across Latin America. So that's huge. And he had the honor and privilege of working with Rachel Andresen. So that is exciting. Okay, thank you so much. If we could please get question number 5. All right. Which multi-billionaire supported the expansion of YFU after the fall of the Iron Curtain by donating $1 million for scholarships? Okay, let's see what people think. I see some B's. Okay, I have C's, couple C's. A lot of B's. Okay, getting more C's in here.
All right.
Okay, all right. Let's see what that answer is.
Alrighty, it is B.
It is B. I thought it was C actually when I first played the game myself. So don't feel bad if you pick C. So a note about that is John W. Kluge was born in Germany. Kluge emigrated to the US where he built a media empire called Metro Media. Okay, and last but not least, question number 6. What is the official name of the purple YFU color scheme adopted by the Global Branding Campaign in 2015? Han Purple, Regal Purple, Electric Purple, or Royal Purple? Seeing a lot of D's coming through. I think our people know their colors. They know their purples. All right, Adele, can I go ahead and see the answer to that?
Yes.
It is Royal Purple. So good job, everybody. Hopefully a lot of us are wearing our Royal Purple today. I know I am, and I have a hat, but it's not showing very well. That's also in purple. So thank you so much for participating. It's great to see how much you guys all know about YFU. That's exciting. Okay. So now, for a moment that we've all been waiting for, we will hear some remarks from Deborah Anderson, the granddaughter of our founder and inspiration, Rachel Andresen. Here to introduce her is Bill Dant from YFU USA. Bill is also a YFU International Board member, as well as a leading member of our very own anniversary celebration team. Welcome, Deborah and Bill.
Thank you, Vanessa. Hello, everybody. This has been an exciting event to plan for and think about, and I'm just delighted to see all these people connected with us today on the 3 platforms that we're using. I don't know how many hundreds of you there are, but there are quite a few. And I am just really delighted to introduce to you Deborah Anderson, granddaughter of YFU founder Rachel Andresen. One thing that Deborah mentioned to me is that her last name is the name of the Mr. Anderson that she married. No relationship to Rachel Andresen, who married a Dane, and that's how she acquired that name. So Deb also told me that her time, and she'll explain to you, her time with her grandmother inspired her to choose cultural geography as a university major. She was so exposed and curious about the world thanks to YFU, her grandmother's influence, and all of the exchange students that she interacted with as she was growing up. So Deb now works at the University of Michigan in the nutrition field in the medical center there. So I'm going to pass the baton on to Deb. Welcome. And she's going to just give us some of her memories and thoughts. And there will be a little time at the end if people have questions that they'd like to ask her. Welcome, Deb.
Hi, thank you for such a warm welcome. It's a privilege and an honor to be celebrating this milestone event today. It's been quite the year. My grandmother would have just been, I don't know what her reaction to COVID would have been, but she was always fond of saying that we find our strength through adversity and challenges. And YFU has certainly experienced that this year, but we'll get through it. YFU is built on hope and understanding and youth. And I just wanted to take this opportunity today to shed light on who my grandmother was. She was born 114 years ago. I think she's glad she's not 114, but she was born in a small town called Deerfield, Michigan. And the population in the 1900 census was 402 people. Very small town. It's a town, if you drive through it and you blink, you'll miss the whole town. It's amazing to me as a geographer that another notable person was also born in Deerfield, Michigan, and it was another Nobel Peace Prize nominee. His name was Danny Thomas. So I don't know if there was something in the water there, but anyway, it just amazes me. Anyway, my grandmother wore many hats. She was a daughter. She was a sister. She was a wife, mother, grandmother, widow. She had a lot of challenges in her life. But she was the most optimistic person I've ever known. And that hope, that the genuine person that she was really shaped the world in her own way. She wasn't Yale, male, or let's see, what do they call that? Yale, pale, or male, which is the typical diplomatic type of person, but she certainly made a dent on a global scale. She always embraced geodiversity rather than nationalism. She taught me at a very early age, there's a big difference between patriotism and nationalism. She deplored nationalism. I want to start, I grew up with the YFU family. My grandmother absolutely thought the ultimate strength of the program has always been the volunteers, the host families, the bravery of every student to travel abroad. When she was with the program, and this is one thing that really stands out in my mind, it wasn't connected like we are now with technology. She had a black rotary phone at a little table, and she always kept a light on. She was available 24/7. And she had a lot of things, you know, of course, everything was a crisis, but she managed to get through everything. And but she her biggest strength, I think, was she believed in youth. She believed in the strength of every generation. She got it. She absolutely believed in younger people, and she believed that to attain world peace, it was one student at a time, one young person at a time, one host family at a time, one community at a time. How can you hate anyone that you actually know? It's so much easier. She firmly believed that it was so much easier to hate than it is to love. And that is true. Hate is based on ignorance. Love is based on knowing. She absolutely believed that this is the only way to do it, and youth for understanding. I was honored to share my life with my grandmother. I was very, very close with her from the time I was born, and I was actually I'm very grateful that I was with her actually at the end of her life as well. And what I want to say too is one of her bucket list destinations was Easter Island. She just absolutely, that's where she wanted to go. And she actually arranged a trip to go there. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to, but that was a lifelong dream of hers. After her retirement from YFU, she didn't stop. She continued to volunteer. She was an avid gardener. She loved playing her piano, but she just kept going. She was just an amazing person. Very, very, I can only describe it as she had a marathon personality. She just kept going and going and going. And I loved her dearly. And she would be so proud of the program this year. She would be so proud of the way the program has met the challenge of this COVID year. And I firmly believe that there's no doubt that there's going to be 70 more years of Youth for Understanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Wow, those were some inspiring words. I think I want to be your grandmother when I grow up. She's amazing. Thank you again so much, Deborah and Bill, for the lovely introduction to Deborah. Are there any questions for Deborah? Please take a moment to put them in the chat box. Let's see. Oh, it looks like there's one here. Let's see. How amazing that your grandmother put the faith in youth and built this program and strongly believed to make it happen. What was her biggest strength to make all this happen and never giving up? I assume she went through a lot of challenges and difficulties. You did address some of those, but good question.
Yeah, I like I said earlier, she kept hope alive by embracing the youth of every generation and hopefully teaching younger generations. And they just, keep coming and coming. But she firmly believed it was up to the young, not the old, to shape the world.
That's great. Another question that came in is, what do you think inspired your grandmother to believe in youth and diversity? For example, her parents, her life circumstances. What do you think that might have been?
Well, she was the daughter of a Methodist minister. She was very driven. By the time she was 14, she had already read the Harvard classics and all of Shakespeare, but she was very driven. She was very influenced by her father. And she was a dynamic person, but it's the hope she's always had. She was the most optimistic person I've ever known. And she just firmly believed that the youth, it wasn't up to old people, it was up to the youth to change the world. So
Yep, that's a very good point. Thank you. And somebody's asking, and I think I have a guess, but can you tell us what your grandmother's favorite color was?
this is such a coincidence. I couldn't even believe it. Purple was her very favorite color.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yay.
Yep. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Adele, I know I see a lot of comments coming through. Are there any that we could maybe highlight? There's a lot of nice things being said. Maybe you could read a couple.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, before that, we have a question from the YouTube and Facebook channel for Deborah. So, he asked, like, were you an exchange student? YFU exchange student when you were younger?
No, I wasn't. Actually, all my siblings were. We were host families. We were a host family just about every year. Unfortunately, no, I wasn't. But what I did as a teenager is I felt I helped her a lot. I would take her to and from the airport, helping her as an aide. But it was just a wonderful time, and I spent every summer with her. I grew up in California, but I spent every summer in Michigan with my grandmother.
Awesome.
Where in California were you?
Originally Southern California, Manhattan Beach,
Okay.
and then we moved to Northern California, the Bay Area.
Oh, okay. Wow, you got all the good places.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Any other comments that you might want to read, Adele?
Yeah, sure. There's a couple comments. So the first one, which is the same person who asked the question earlier, she said, I used to play Rachel's Go Piano, which was at the old HQ in DC, and she used to come to DC for her birthday celebration throughout the 80s. I thought that was really sweet. Yeah, and then, yeah, we have, I guess we have another question in the chat, like, how can future exchange student be most helpful for the mission of YFU?
I think it just goes back to geodiversity and embracing other cultures and learning about other cultures and religions, and possibly some politics, see how people are driven. But I think the most important thing is to embrace other people, get to know other people on a global scale.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And then we have a couple comments. She's been such amazing. Remember watching the video when I was in orientation with Argentina. So, and then also we have a Michigan alum who traveled from YFU Sweden in 1979. Yeah. I guess we have one last question. It's just like, if you don't mind answering, like, when did Rachel pass away?
Pardon me?
When did Rachel pass away?
She passed away in 1987, and it was very painful. But I mean, I think the important thing is keeping her legacy alive, and YFU has certainly stepped up to the plate on that one. I think it's something that makes our entire family just even more proud of her.
I definitely agree. And I think she has left quite an amazing legacy, if we were only so lucky to leave something half as amazing. I do see more questions coming in through the chat. We'll do one quick last one. And then just so everybody knows, we will be doing with Deborah a longer interview that will be coming up. So for any other questions that you have, please send them in the chat, email us at our anniversary website, and we will get these questions to Deborah so that she can address all of these things for you. But it will be coming, so please keep in touch with our website so you can see when that's coming along. That's our yfu.org/anniversary. we will have all of our information there. So it's in the chat box if you guys want to grab that. But our last question, and then we're going to have to move on for right now, was, did Rachel manage to travel to all the countries that were YFU members at the time when she was in? I know she started with Germany, but.
Yeah, she traveled extensively. And I would like to say she would be so proud. Actually, I wrote an introduction when for China, when China opened up. I think that would be one thing she just would have adored, seeing the doors open. China, former Soviet Union. She would have been thrilled to see the Berlin Wall go down.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yep. It's a lot of things. Well, I'm sure from wherever she's at, she's watching down, and
she
I'm
is.
sure she's very, very happy to see that this is alive and thriving, and what started with one country has now expanded so widely, and we have so many students who've gone on exchange or hosted or volunteered. I mean, this is such a huge piece of so many people's lives, and we have your grandmother to thank for that. So thank you so very much for joining us today, and we will definitely look forward to your longer interviews so we can ask even more questions. So thank you very much, Deborah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And now I would like to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Patrice Biraud. Patrice will be talking to us today about his experience with YFU and how it has shaped his life. Patrice is an active volunteer of YFU France and recently appointed YFU International Board member. His wife, Anne, will also be joining us. Welcome, Patrice and Anne.
My microphone was off. So sorry. So I will be joining you alone. Anne, my wife, is there in the background and listening and supporting me. And we thought it would be easier for the presentation and less confusing to have only one voice. And I realized just coming after Deborah and Deborah words is it's a touching moment. And I hope that we'll be able to build on that energy that Deborah just created in the whole room or in the whole virtual room. Thank you, everybody, to be here. Good morning, good day, good evening. Maybe some people are even in the middle of the night. So I know that it's amazing, and it is also surprised me that people are so engaged and so present. So maybe I have a few minutes to talk to you about my experience at YFU. I'm not an experience as an exchange student. I came very late, in fact, in the YFU world or in the YFU family, some people say. And maybe give you a little bit of information on my background to see why I ended up into that role. I'm an electronic engineer as a background. I worked initially as 15 years as for the French aerospace engineering companies up to the mid-80s, where I moved to Holland, or at the time we called Holland and we called the Netherlands. I think we have to officially say like this, and moved to the Netherlands to work for the European Space Agency, ESA. So worked on a couple of satellites there, and became one of the first mission directors of the European Space Agency main space program, working essentially between Europe and Russia. So that was my first exposure really to working with a different culture, even though in European Space Agency is 18 nationality at the time, that is much more today, and really my constant traveling to Russia. By the way, and I helped during this time to accompany 2 German astronauts on board the Mir space stations. So the 2 German astronauts, for those who are familiar with the space program, are Ulf Merbold and Thomas Reiter. By the way, just to help you to know what a mission director is, I'm sure you all know the film Apollo 13, and I'm sure you all remember in that film a guy named Ed Harris. You know, he's a bit bold like me. So that's a mission director. So, and I have the chance to accompany these 2 programs, one of 45 days, one 145 days, and it was an uplifting experience. I had the chance to live in the Netherlands. I had the chance to live also in Germany. I spent 1 year in Russia, live in the UK for a few years, and live also in the USA in the Silicon Valley. So all this really shaped my life, and over 17 years traveling and living in different countries. I also changed 5-6 times career in the course of my 40 years, and lucky to say with some successes. So the last 15 years, I've been an independent. I work as a coach, as a trainer, consultant, but I'm really lucky because I continue to work with dozens of people all around the world, and I continue to work with a base of clients in France, in Europe, and in Africa, South Africa in particular, and in Asia. So that gives you a bit of my background, and so I built a lot of expertise. And sometimes think, what do we do with all that expertise? Why have I done everything I've done? Why grow up like this? So my first encounter with YFU, that was not long time ago. That was in 2010. And it was 2010, it was really in a framework of working as a coach and a trainer and a consultant. I was contacted by the French YFU office to help them solve some communication problem within the office. We know this thing that all offices experience at one point in time. And of course, YFU has this really intelligence to detect people who can help the system. So therefore, a few months later, even though they didn't give me they didn't hire me to help them solve the communication problem, but they said, we like you, and maybe, you could help us redesign the inbound orientation for our student coming from abroad. Because, we need to do something different, and you have experience in training and things like this. So that's where I started with a team of 5 or 6 people. We redesigned completely the inbound program. We launched it in 2011. It works pretty well. And that's the first time I really started realizing during this, and I know those who are familiar with inbound orientation, it's 4 or 5 days, it's very intense, 24/7 almost, you don't sleep, you eat quickly because you're constantly behind the student and helping them. So I started really feeling uplifting by that experience, realizing that energy, that revitalizing energy of that youngsters coming to a different experience with fears, with frustration, with disappointment sometimes on the first few days. And really, really, it was amazing. And this was new for me. I realized, because I always work with professionals, people who knew what they were doing, or at least they think they knew what they were doing. So, and it was interesting. And it gave me the first taste of volunteering work. Also, another encounter with YFU was in 2015 when I helped coordinating the National Director Conference in Rome. That was another side of YFU. Suddenly you have something like 50 plus people in a big room. You can be aware of the relationship issues, about the politics, how to make a big network work together. Quite interesting, and also a tough client. Really, really tough people in a room, really asking hard questions. 2015, 2016, I also worked on the color glasses program. For those who are familiar with it, I helped to really bring the color glasses program in France, translating the whole curriculum in French, and really starting training people to go and deliver that program into the schools. And we even organized in 2016 an international symposium in Paris, which really gathered a few hundred people, probably not 300, but something like 100, 120 people from mainly Europe, and to really, really try to push color glasses in more countries. 2019, I joined the international board. And in fact, in March this year, I just became chairman of the French board. So you can see the YFU, in 10 years, are really starting getting me into the big family. And, because YFU is so present in my life, of course, I've been wondering, why? Why is it happening? What is these things about volunteering? Why? I'm a professional. I'm used to really present myself in different ways. So what is it so? So first of all, when I think about that question, one thing I'm convinced, we're not born volunteer worker. I think it's not something you come in life with it. I think we become a volunteer worker. I think it's something which grows in you through the years. It grew with you sometime earlier, sometime late. Like me, it was pretty late, more late than early. And I do believe that based on your experience, based on people you meet, you start developing that feeling of, I can do something else. I can do something which is bigger than myself. Because I think voluntary work has really associated for me to do something which is bigger than yourself. Because if it's something I can do on my own, I don't need to do it voluntarily. I can even go and, so that's the thing. Of course, also, as I said earlier on, look at my career, look at all the countries I live in, look at all the people I met, all the situation, easy and not easy I've been in. I was wondering, why all this? Why all this is coming together? How can I make it use of it in a better way for a greater purpose? So I've been lucky in my life, even though I didn't start easy, but I've been lucky and I got a lot out of life. No, maybe it's time to give back. Maybe it's time to give back to the world what I've been lucky to experience. You know, I said, we talk about Anne, my wife, she's American, and I lived 5 years in the US. You know, I've always been intrigued and puzzled by this philanthropic mentality in the US, you know, that people give a lot and things like this. And for me as a French, definitely, believe me, it was very puzzling. And I was wondering, what is it so? Where is this coming? When is coming that energy? You know, this giving without expecting anything in return. You know, really coming from the heart instead of coming from the brain. And I think that's, for me, at the basic of voluntary work. Voluntary work is coming from the heart and trust that where we come out will definitely work for the best. I believe that when you develop lots of experience and expertise in your life, it's, believe me, it's so fulfilling to share it with a bunch of people who are not professional, even sometimes people we just met. It's so refreshing. You don't have to justify yourself. Sometimes you don't have to explain in detail what you're doing. We are just living the same experience for the sake of being in that experience. And again, I repeat, without expecting anything in return. And that for me is definitely a big element. So how YFU and YFU volunteering has affected my life? I mean, yes, of course, lots of joy and satisfaction through different experience, but there is a few things I want to emphasize. First of all, it brought a soft touch in me. And I say a soft touch, not the French touch. This one I've already before. So, and you know, that's not easy to break the nutshell, you know, and to open up something which have a difficulty to break. It also helped me to reconnect with the adolescent in me. An adolescent who didn't have lots of chance to be expressed when I was an adolescent. I came from a working class family with some financial difficulties, and we didn't have much means. And therefore, we were more in survival mode. So therefore, the adolescent was already an adult even before being an adolescent. So that's really helped me to relieve that by seeing everything around me in wonderful understanding. And the last but not the least, he also helped me to reconnect much better with my children. I have 2 children. I have a son. He's French, and he's 40 years old today. And I have also a daughter. She's 29. She's German, born in Germany, grew up as a German. So I have to really deal with these 2 children from 2 different countries and seeing things in a different way. So, which is at the root of what Youth for Understanding has been designed for. So that's really, in fact, and telling you that, I feel my whole body shaking at the moment. So realizing how much I got from my already only 10 years, 11 years of being a volunteer. So what I want to tell all of you as a closure for today, when I work with YFU, I am aware that I'm part of something bigger than myself, and that we're doing global work. And that goes beyond borders. And that's what for me is very important. You know, another anecdote, in the mid-90s, I took 1 year sabbatical and I wrote a book. It's never been published, by the way. So don't look in Amazon, it's not there. So, but it was a book which I entitled One Universe, One People. And it was really about how to connect not only the people on this planet, it was even people on the other planet. So I was very ambitious then. So I diminished a little bit my ambition, but really showing that I completely believe that we're all connected. So how can we make that connection more alive? How can we make that connection every day alive? So that's really one of my intentions. In 2011, I remember I was driving back with Anne, my wife, by my side from this inbound orientation. And then I told her, you know, these kids are the leaders of tomorrow. So we really need to give them all the means to be good leaders of tomorrow. So today, I'm really convinced that all the youth in the world, they need to have a better understanding of the world today. And they need to be prepared for the responsibilities and the opportunities which are emerging in a changing and interdependent world. And I believe YFU is really building that generation. I mean, through the years, I think we need to continue to give them that understanding of the world. The world is changing. I think the world is even different in 2021 than it was in 2019 because COVID came along and it brought some different challenges. So, but we need to continue giving that better understanding to the youth of our planet. That's where I will end up my little talk. And thank you all for being here today. Anessa, we can take 1 or 2 questions.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much, Patrice. That was amazing. And you've lived all over. You are also a life I want to live. This is great. You guys are all great inspirations for all of us. Okay, yes, please. Now is the time to get your questions in the chat box. I know we have kind of a time delay because people are sending from Facebook Live and YouTube. But I know, Adele, we did have some questions in there. Would you mind reading a couple of them, please?
Yeah, sure. So we have one question for Patrice. So if you could change one thing at YFU ways of working, what would it be?
Ooh, I think YFU has changed quite a lot of things in the way of working. I mean, the YFU today is not the YFU or even 3 or 4 years ago. I believe there's probably need a more connection. I believe even though we know the technology is great, but there is probably some improvement in a connection between the countries and with same aims for the different countries. I think we're not looking at YFU in the same way yet. I think they need a need of strengthening more of our values.
Okay, thank you. I see another question that was, how can we make sure YFU is in the forefront of the fight for women, Black, trans, Indigenous, and other minority rights? How can we make sure we're inclusive of everyone?
You know, that's an interesting question because, first of all, and what I'm going to say might hurt some people, by the way, and I'm aware. So, of course, YFU initially, we thought it was, even though it was not the original intention, I felt privileged people were more, let's say, using YFU than underprivileged people. So I think definitely there is something to do here, how to help underprivileged people to benefit from YFU is offering. So that's the first thing. So of course, now really we go beyond this. How do we ensure that we work on helping women equality? How do we help really all the trans, the Black, the thing? Because again, there is something which developed which was more in a business side with money involved. So that's why we believe the 70th anniversary is critical, because if we can show that we can generate funding and help all these groups which cannot benefit things we offer, and give them a chance to participate to our program, that will help people to understand that we are more in a world of integration instead of being a world of disintegration.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Adele, I know there was another question somewhere up the chain. Do you have that right now?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's a kind of fun question. As a former European Space Agency director, when do you think and why have you organized the first interplanetary exchange?
Someone with a good sense of humor.
That would be interesting. I mean, can you send, without talking about Mars, let's talk about the moon, even though, but to have exchange, you have to have people on the other side. So I think, let's see if this planet are inhabited, and, you know, instead of focusing on other planets, let's already make our planet, let's say, a safer and more fulfilling place. And then we'll see later about interplanetary exchange.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Patrice. We really appreciate your questions. Are there any other questions at this point that we can answer that we missed? We'll give it about 10, 15 seconds. If anybody has a question, great. If not, we are going to go ahead and move along to our next part of the events. Do you see anything coming through, Adele?
I think we're clear on the chat.
Okay, perfect. Again, please feel free to email us at the YFU70anniversary@gmail.com with any questions that we may have missed today. We're doing the best we can to get to all of your questions. And I know there is a bit of a time delay with Facebook Live and YouTube. So thank you again for everyone being here and participating. And these were some great questions for our speakers. Thank you, Patrice. We appreciate you spending the time with us today. And that was a very interesting and informative keynote. So thank you. Okay. Well, today, as I just said, we've had the opportunity to hear from some amazing people throughout the YFU organization. I'm sure there are many more questions. Please let us know. We do appreciate it if you do get in touch with us. So for our next speaker, I would like to welcome Yeva Deramposkaita, and who's also an international board member, as well as one of our key leaders of the anniversary team. Yeva's here to tell us a little bit more about all of the fun and upcoming anniversary activities we have planned for the rest of the year. So Yeva, if you're ready, welcome.
Thank you, Vanessa. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here for sure. So now I think and I hope everything is working. You can see my screen. And as Vanessa already said, this kickoff event is only the beginning of our celebration activities, right? We are in April. There are still many months in the year of 2020 remaining. And I will take this opportunity to actually guide you through all the activities that our anniversary organizing team has planned. Please pay attention. On the bottom of every slide, you will see a lot of hashtags, which I would like to encourage all of you to use whenever you are advertising, let's say, one or another YFU activity, anniversary activity on your own social media. There are also calls to action. So you are not only the observers, you are the YFU community. So obviously this whole event and all these activities are for you, by you, for all the YFU people, by all the YFU people. So feel free to get engaged and do take action. And let's celebrate this all together. First of all, we will start. I hope we can start. Yes. First of all, we will start with introducing the virtual storybook. We know that throughout all the YFU's existence, we have learned that YFU is much more than an exchange experience. It's much more than just going to another country and experiencing a country or a culture. YFU is a lot of friendships, relationships. We have even heard and seen today that YFU creates families, YFU results in lots of love stories and many different things. So please do share your own YFU story. Maybe you fell in love, maybe you found your significant other, maybe you moved to another country and made your life there. Share your YFU story with us. Under each call to action, you will also see the timeline. So please pay attention to the specific months in the year of 2021. And obviously, we will share this all information with you guys in the future. So you do not need to take notes and write every single thing down. You will get information about that at a later stage as well. It is never too late to say thank you. I know many of us have been on exchange many years ago. I myself went to Waterloo, Iowa in the US in 98, 99. When I say that to our current exchange students, they do think I'm a dinosaur for going on exchange in the last century. But of course, there might be people who you haven't spoken in a while. There are people with who you keep in touch every single day. So use this opportunity, take one of our created thank you cards, which will come available in June later this year, and give your appreciation. Send your word of thanks to anybody, to your host family, to your exchange student, to your host neighbor, to any YFU person who was or still is in your life. And if you haven't spoken with them for a while, don't worry. Now it's a great opportunity to do so, actually. YFU has changed throughout the years, right? Now we have all the social media and technology and other opportunities available to each one of us. And social media brings a lot of possibilities for us to share our cultures with one another. What I would like to ask you to do, first of all, two things. First of all, follow YFU Global on Instagram. And then also don't only follow, but do take this Instagram over. Ask for access and take a look, visit our exchange students, show what your life is like, show what your culture is like to the rest of the YFU community. You can definitely sign up for that and show your experiences to the rest of the YFU community. We will also do some fun. We will create a Spotify playlist with all the different songs from all of your different exchange experiences. And we'll take the whole YFU community down the memory lane. So please do share a song from your own YFU exchange experience, or not even necessarily only YFU. If you were an exchange participant of another organization, that's definitely great as well. Our historian team is putting together the rich YFU history plus pictures, aiming to lead us all through the decades of YFU development in the world. Deborah, in her presentation or in her speech, was remembering her grandmother and knowing that her grandmother would have been extremely proud of the Berlin Wall falling down, of YFU China joining YFU organizations and many, many other organizations coming up. So let's create this YFU timeline together. If you want to join, send us please the history of your YFU organization and also pictures that can illustrate that history of your YFU organization. I know that there are many creative people in YFU, and we have quite a few musicians. I'm pretty sure we have a few musicians here with us tonight as well. So we invite all of you to write a song that will unite all YFU organizations, regardless of where in the world we are based, regardless of which language we speak, etc. So we want to write a YFU anthem, and we ask all of you to join the competition of doing so. You can submit your song idea in May and June this year. As soon as we have the winner, as soon as we have the anthem, we will announce the winner, of course, and we'll give you some space to practice, to actually learn this anthem, which we can sing together at the end of the year, at the closing ceremony of our anniversary activities. And I'll speak about that a little bit later. Of course, we are hundreds of YFU people connected at one single screen or many different screens tonight or today. And we have all had many YFU experiences. For example, at the YES seminar that you can actually see in the photo here, we have had many other events and activities with our exchange students and other YFU stakeholders. I'm pretty sure that we have tons of YFU t-shirts available in whatever colors, in purple, in orange, in black, in red, and white, in anything. So we are trying to organize a social media fashion show. And I would like to ask all of you to join the social media fashion show. Show on social media every single YFU t-shirt that you have. Maybe add a little comment on what kind of memories it brings to you. And we will also try to count who has the most YFU t-shirts. Maybe we can count 10, maybe we can count 57, who knows? Let's see what happens. Food is a significant part of every culture. Vanessa has been teasing us since the very beginning of this meeting about the desserts, and the desserts that she has in the fridge. The truth is that food brings people together, and exchange experiences, cooking the meals from your exchange country with your exchange student, with your host family, with your friends, it's wonderful. It's a great experience. For this purpose, we want to put together the YFU exchange recipe book or the YFU cookbook. And we would like to ask you to share a recipe of your exchange experience. And we will see how many recipes we arrive at. Maybe we can even do some kind of a cooking show or cooking evening together one of these days in the next coming months. I was already touching a little bit upon the closing ceremony. This is the opening ceremony, so to say. This is the kickoff event. In November 2021, we will join again. We will connect again virtually, if possible, at least nationally, together in person, to acknowledge what we have achieved throughout the year, to take a look at all the different activities that were taking place throughout the year 2021. And we will also set the guiding direction for the next 70 years. So maybe not ourselves, but our children and grandchildren will be joining again 70 years from now and possibly reflecting on what we have done in 2021. Last but not least, I was speaking already a little bit earlier about the technologies and all the social media available to us. There is LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure all of you know it. Probably all of you are on it. What we would like to do in order to celebrate this diversity of YFU, we have seen that more than 270,000 exchange students have gone on exchange with YFU since 1951. There are many professionals within YFU community who are on LinkedIn. We would like to see as many of these people as possible on the Youth for Understanding YFU, that's how it's called, group on LinkedIn. Currently it has, if I'm not mistaken, 3,000 plus members. We want to increase this number to 70,000 by the end of this year. So if you haven't joined, please join and invite all of your YFU connections to join as well. Now to conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to actually remind you all that we are also on social media. We are on Facebook, we are on Insta, we are on TikTok. There is the LinkedIn group I was mentioning. Ines and some other people from the organizing team were already advertising the anniversary website. And of course, Vanessa has been telling all of us about the anniversary email. You can also reach to the organizing team by this email if you want to become a part of the team, if you want to volunteer for the organizing activities. Now, as I said, we will share the information about all of these activities on the anniversary website, and you will be able to sign up for the newsletter, not to miss any of the information available, any of the activities upcoming. If you have ideas for other activities, or if you want to join the already currently existing initiatives, drop us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And I hope that we will celebrate together for the rest of the year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yeva. Sounds like there's a lot of fun stuff coming up, a lot of fun anniversary activities in store for us this coming this coming year. So thank you for explaining all of those. I know it was a lot of information. So again, like Eva said, we do have all of that information on our anniversary website. So please feel free to go ahead and take a look. And then you can email us with questions and we'd be happy to explain it in further detail if we didn't clarify enough for you today. So we hope to see you all participating in our campaigns. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, I can't wait for the cookbook, especially. I already have one from my host mom I'm going to be submitting, so I can't wait. Okay, so now another moment that we've all been waiting for. It's time for our toast. So everybody, please grab your dessert and your toasting beverage of choice. I have to show you my cute little cake. I don't know if you can see my purple bow and my happy birthday. I'm excited. My cheesecake and toasting beverage of choice, everyone, with my purple ribbon. So please, everybody, if you would, please hold your glass of whatever you're enjoying today up to the camera so we can all see what everybody's got. Great. So now I'd like to just take a moment and say thank you to everyone joining us today and who has joined us from all around the world and who's been part of the YFU family for the past 70 years. Here's to the next 70 years of opening minds for a brighter world. Cheers. Yay. Clink, clink,
Thanks,
clink,
everyone.
clink.
Yay! Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Prost, nostrovia, salud, kampai. Awesome. Yes. So thank you again. So this is a perfect time, I think, for a group photo. So Andrea, if you would please take a group picture, we would really appreciate it. There are a lot of us. So if you guys could give us just a minute and let Andrea let us know what we need to do. So Andrea,
Yes.
tell us what's going on.
So actually, I've already gotten some pictures while you were toasting because I think these
Impromptu.
impromptu, exactly, pictures are the best. But let's take again one, toasting again maybe. And I would like everybody to ask to share your video so that we can also share the spirit a bit better. Cheers,
Awesome.
everybody, again.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, they can't see it, darn it. Oh, well.
It's funny how with the background you cannot see the glass actually.
I know, I was just thinking that. I have my friend helping me here and we were toasting and I thought it'd be cute to show two glasses. No dice. It didn't work
Thanks,
out.
everyone. We'll be sharing the photos.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay. Adele, did you, or Carolina, did you notice, are there any questions that we had that maybe came in a little bit later that we can answer right now? Adele, did you see anything?
I don't see any questions. I think earlier was a question about the linking group, but I think somebody already answered that, so we're good.
Okay, perfect. How about you, Carolina? Did you see anything? Okay, I'm guessing that's a no then. Okay. Well, thank you so much. So guys, just so you know, in just a moment, we will be moving on to the second part of our event for today. That's not over. So we'll be moving on to the second part of our event, which is our virtual get together. There will be instructions on how to join us that will be provided by Inese in just a moment. So please stick around. Okay, so this concludes this portion of today's schedule of events. Thank you all for being part of today's anniversary kickoff celebration. If this was your first time joining us, thank you so much. We are so glad that you came. We hope to see more of you in the future. And trust me, there's going to be a lot of you here. So if you wouldn't mind joining us again and checking out our all of the upcoming stuff, we'd love to see you again. If you need more information or you'd like to volunteer, please again utilize the email address that Yeva provided. Another good way too is please stay in touch with your local YFU organizations and make sure to follow us on all the YFU social media as well as our anniversary website for all upcoming events and campaign information. We hope to see you next month for May's anniversary activities, and we would love for you to invite a friend to join you. So for every one of you, we'd hope to see an extra person here next month. We'd love to spread this wonderful legacy that Rachel Andresen has left us, and all the good that YFU does in the world. And the more people who know about it, I feel like the more hearts we can touch, and the more places we can reach. So thank you so much. So now we would like to invite you to the second part of our event, which is the after party. It's an informal virtual gathering that will be on wonder.me. Here to tell you a little bit more about wonder.me, because tech is not my strong suit, is Inese from YFU. Inese, would you please let us know now how we can participate in the after party?
Yes, of course. So welcome everyone, and hi everyone here in Zoom, in YouTube and Facebook. And like any other official event, when it comes to an end, we would like to right now mimic real life experience when we are heading outside and we are meeting one of our wonderful friends what we haven't met for many years. So today we have in live people, YFU people, at least from 35 different countries. And I'm sure that you already know them, and we would like to give you a chance to have a small chat and then celebrate moment together. So I will guide you the process, how we will do it. We will use it wonder.me. At the little bit stay a moment, you will have a link in the chat a little bit later. But first I will explain how to get there, and then we can meet and have a chat there. So first thing what you will do is when you will receive the link afterwards in the chat, you will need to switch off your Zoom camera if you are in Zoom. Then you will open the link from the chat. And the next thing what you will need to do is to on the page accept all the cookies and request browser permissions. One of the technical detail for the wonder.me accepts Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge. So if you're zooming from Apple products, please make sure that like you're opening, for example, Google Chrome. And the next thing, when you are requested the permission, then over there, I love using your microphone and camera. Upload and create your avatar, take a picture, write your name, and answer on the one last question, where are you from? And once you enter the room, you will have a chance to see other users. So you just, by clicking on the screen, go around, create a group, and you can start to have a conversation. So like in real life experience. So once again, when we are going and receiving the link in the chat, then yes, switch off your Zoom camera, go to the check, request browser permissions, create your own avatar, and enjoy the conversation and after party. So you will also have a link in the Facebook and in the YouTube, and see you there. If you cannot enter from the wonder.me, I will be here for a while here in Zoom, so I will also help, and also our tech team help. So maybe tech team right now is the moment when we can paste link in the chat. So yes, see you in wonder.me.
And you have to use the link, everybody. You can't just type in wonder.me. Make sure you use the link in the chat box. Otherwise, you will be lost. I discovered that myself. So
yes. So please, in the chat, add a link. You're seeing there. So please, yeah, join in. Firstly, switch off the camera. Go inside, and once you are in the room with others, you can hop off the Zoom and enjoy time in wonder.me. Yes, and yeah, use please Chrome and Edge. If someone has difficulties, please then you unmute yourself, and you can also ask how to get there. And also, please remember, once you want to enter the room, please switch off your Zoom camera. That's really important. So that so we have Wonder.me has access to your camera. Does it work?
Yeah, it's working for me.
I see some Zoom cameras still on. Maybe yes, if you're trying to right now log in, then this is the moment. If you're logging in with the Zoom camera on, it might be difficult, and it's not only possible. So yes, I think that's for now. That is all. Thank you very much for joining this this event, and happy anniversary. And see you in other activities on social media. Write us and send us also your Yfu story.